A new kind of mortgage prisoner has emerged with news this morning that some banks are refusing to lend on homes that people call Fleecehold, where onerous management charges are included in the freehold contracts. These can include big fees for simple changes, like painting the doors and windows or putting up a small extension. People living in these homes often now can't sell them on. No one can get a mortgage to buy them. Current owners are also trapped with their existing mortgage lenders when their deals run out, so their mortgages can cost them a lot more. Our reporter Melanie Abbott's been looking into it all.
Yeah, it's estimated that there are more than 1 million homeowners who have these onerous fees which are written into the freehold deeds, and sometimes the fees can rise regularly every year and they can be over the rate of inflation. They'll often be included as an extra covenant added onto those deeds, and we have featured this problem on You and Yours before. This is Sarah Jane Rowlands talking about her freehold home in Wales and finding out that there were a raft of fees she would have to pay, including even for small alterations.
We were worried because we'd heard of some people on the estate that had done alterations to their home, had been charged thousands of pounds for this. And it seemed very unfair that, these were alterations you don't even need planning for, so why should you have to pay this company money? For example, somebody wanted just to sell their home and they were, the term fleecehold has been used, they were a fleecehold property. They were charged £300 just to sell their home. We'd heard of some people on the estate that had done alterations to their home, had been charged £750. These were alterations you don't even need planning for, so why should you have to pay? That's completely unjustified.
As Sarah Jane says, people living in these homes are dubbing them fleecehold. So they have the freehold, but it seems more like a leasehold, hence the word fleecehold. And they say that a lot of people are finding that lenders are unwilling to offer mortgages on these homes, and it is making some of them unsaleable.
Well, why wouldn't the banks lend on them though, Mel, if people are coming along who are willing to buy them?
Well, I have been ringing round some of the banks this morning. There is no blanket policy. Nationwide told me that they have turned down what they describe as a small number of mortgages, and they say they wouldn't lend because they weren't comfortable with those draft clauses I talked about added into the deeds and which were included in the sale. And they say that they will lend if the clauses are amended to ensure that the customer is protected, and they say that they want to protect the buyers from excessive fees that they might not fully realise will impact selling the home on. Santander told me it's impossible to run affordability checks for mortgages when fees built into the freeholds will keep going up in the future, or they just aren't even clear in the first place. NatWest says it's looking at this on a case-by-case basis, and Barclays says it is reviewing the situation.
There are lots and lots of campaigners, aren't there, trying to get changes to these freeholds and to leaseholds as well. What are they saying today?
That's right. Well, of course, it's grim news if you happen to own one of these homes. But some say that the bank's stance, they hope it will mean that change will happen. Katie McKendrick is from the National Leasehold campaign and has pushed for this fleecehold, as they call it, to be abolished.
I think it needs to be viewed as a really positive step forward, that the mortgage lenders are in fact recognising that these uncapped and unregulated estate fees are considered onerous, which is what campaign groups like the NLC and Homeowners Network have been saying for a very long time. We are hoping that it will force government into legislating to end our homes and our estates that they sit on to be used as an endless income stream. I've always said that replacing leasehold with fleecehold is absolutely not acceptable. We're talking about freehold homes now that should be free from hold, but we're not. And, these fees were not open and transparent at the point of sale.
And what do the developers say, Mel?
Well, developers argue that these fees are fairly standard and that they are there to make sure that the developments stay looking good and that people don't start making changes and alterations on an ad hoc basis. And they say the charges represent a small administration fee. The Home Builders Federation, which represents all of the developers, told us that all management fees are clearly set out to buyers at the point of sale.
And there are other people, aren't there, who have bought these relatively new homes who are finding that they can't either remortgage them or sell them on.
Well, that's right. I mean, there is a whole new raft of mortgage prisoners being created, really, that we have covered before. There are those stuck in leasehold homes with the escalating ground rents, which double every 10 years. There are those in flats with cladding where they don't know if it's flammable or not. Sometimes even an assessment hasn't been carried out fully. They can't get a mortgage. Obviously, if it is flammable, they definitely can't get a mortgage. It represents hundreds of thousands of people we're talking about now. Now, on leasehold, the government has banned selling new homes as leasehold, and now there is going to be increasing pressure for them to act on what people are calling fleecehold.
Melanie Abbott, thank you for that.